Hi, this is Ariane from Lavender handmade soap shop in the Magdalen Islands, Quebec, Canada. Today, I am talking to you from the wild rose field. I am lucky enough to have wild roses growing on my own property, so I can use these in my soaps. Most likely I use them as cupcake toppers. Actually, I don't actually use the flower, but rather the rose buds. And here are two rose buds. I'm going to show you two different types of rose buds that are growing around here. And I'm going to show you how I pick them, dry them, and then use them on my products. So let's go take a walk. I will show you, these are the dwarf roses, wild roses. They're really small, but I also have giant wild roses also growing on my property. Let's go. Taking a short walk down the field, you can see that wild roses, the dwarf variety, are growing all over the sides, and at this time of the year it just smells so amazingly good. When I pick the rose buds, whether they are dwarf or giant variety, here's one. I like to keep the rose hip fruit that is not mature yet under the bud. This will help the rose bud stick on the soapy cupcake or fizzy cupcake or whatever you want to put it on, or just regular soap with the piping top on. This little ball will dig into the soap batter and it'll stay there. So I always keep them on. Here are a bunch that I already picked. Here's one. I'm going to show you what I do. I don't bring scissors or anything. I just kind of nick it just under the fruit, and I make sure that there's nothing prickly on it because you don't want anybody getting one of these thorns. They're pretty big. Ouch. I never bring my kids to pick rosebuds with me because I don't want them to get an owie. Wild dwarf rosebuds, they somehow have a little, it looks like hair, and when you pick them, your finger get all sticky. I don't have this on the giant rosebuds, but they're pretty much bigger. So you can see the difference in size. The one to the left is the dwarf variety, and these two are the giant variety. So right behind me is my Excalibur. It's a food dehydrator, but you can also use it for crafts, such as drying flowers. So I've got two trays here. I'm going to sort them out. I'm going to put the dwarf variety on one and the giant on the other. I'm going to slide the flowers right in here and dry them overnight at 105 degrees Fahrenheit. Here I am making my sweet soapy cupcake. I'm just adding a dollop of soap frosting before placing a rosebud on top of each cupcake. And yeah, you may have seen those on my Facebook page. Here's my Love Spell type cupcake, also made with the dwarf rosebuds. And here is my rosehip puree cupcake that I make also with the dwarf variety rosebuds. I think the only place, and I don't have a video for that, where I use the big ones is on my fizzy cupcakes. Ta-da! Final result. It's really beautiful. Well, I like it. And while we are at it, why don't you come outside with me and I will harvest my lavender, my homegrown lavender with you guys. Come on. It's so beautiful. Let's take a look. when you have lavender, you are most likely to have bees. See, there's one right there. So whenever you harvest your lavender, just make sure you collect it before all of the flowers are fully opened, and always watch out for bees because they may sting you if they accidentally catch your hand. So I have a little box, and I just grab some leaves and put them in. And I can hear a bee right there, so I'm not going to go there just yet. If you grow lavender at home, whenever you harvest your plant, lavender likes to be trimmed, so I always give it a little haircut also when I'm done cutting the flower. This will give it a nice shape, and then it'll perhaps bloom a second time later in the summer if the weather is hot enough. Otherwise, it'll be back next summer. So, this is pink lavender. And I also have a couple varieties that are purple English lavender. When my box is filled up, I found a second utility to my soap drying trays. I put my lavender in the trays, and then on a warm, sunny day, I start my dehumidifier right next to the drying trays, and the lavender dries in there. I'll show you. This is about 1/3 of all of the lavender that I will be able to harvest from my garden. And what I do, I take it in, and I use my soap drying trays as flower drying trays. I'm just going to put some paper towel all along because of the slits. I don't want to lose any of the flowers, and this is only to prevent losing the loss of flowers. So here's what I do. I just put my lavender flowers, and then I have a dehumidifier that I keep running when I make soap to help to maintain not the temperature, but the humidity level from my soaping room low, and this will help to dry the flowers. So let's take another tray in. Quickly. Lavender flowers can be used in many ways in soap. Here I'm using the flowers infused in olive oil. In other recipes, I can grind my flowers and add them to my soap batter to create a fine exfoliating textures in my soaps.